Hi, I'm Mandy from San Francisco. Please like this video and subscribe to the channel. My parents told me ever since I was a child that I was too kind. Take the money and go buy groceries at the supermarket.
Look at my poor leg, spare a coin?
Here, take it.
I hit the jackpot.
As I was walking home, I saw a box of kittens. You poor things! Who left you here? I asked you to get groceries, not kittens! I gave the money to a homeless man, and these kittens needed help. Ah! Get off of me! Isn't he cute?
I'm allergic to cats.
Put them back where you found them. I couldn't just leave the kittens on the street. Instead, I put up posters and talked to our neighbors. Soon enough, I found owners for the kittens. I found new owners for the kittens. I started to realize my family was a bit weird. We never had any guests over, and my parents were hardly ever home. One day, I went to bed before they got back from work. A rustle woke me up. Is there something on the roof? When two dark silhouettes appeared outside my window, my blood ran cold and I screamed. Hush!
It's us.
Mom? Dad? Shh! Are we going somewhere? Get ready and don't ask any more questions. Early in the morning, we left our home through the back door and got into our car. Soon, we stopped next to some sort of building. Wait for us here.
We'll come back for you soon.
I waited for my parents for such a long time, I started shaking with cold. When will they come back?
Girl, what are you doing here?
I'm waiting for my parents. They promised to come back for me soon.
This is an orphanage. Your parents abandoned you. You're going to live here from now on.
That's not true. My parents didn't abandon me. I was sure there had been some sort of mistake and kept waiting for my mom and dad to come back. She's so weird. She still believes someone will come for her. I spent a whole month at the orphanage before I got tired of waiting and decided to act. Something must have happened to Mom and Dad. I'll go to our house and get to the bottom of it. I waited for the right moment and sneaked out of the orphanage. Back then, I had no idea how huge San Francisco was. I think we took a turn there? Soon, I got lost and found myself in an unfamiliar neighborhood. It was dark and I was scared. Then it started to rain and I hid in an abandoned building. Mom, Dad, where are you? Before I knew it, I'd fallen asleep and slept till morning. I'm so cold and hungry. As I wandered around the city, I still hoped to find my way home. Then, all of a sudden, I heard a scream. Somebody help! I ran toward the voice and saw a woman in an Indian sari. Please, help me! I ran up to her and tried to scare the dog away. Stop! Bad dog! Go away!
Where did the kid come from? Jack, quiet!
You're filming a movie? We are, sweetie, but thanks for trying to help.
Freya, it was a great take. We're using it.
Freya treated me to hot tea and cakes. What were you doing here anyway? Where are your parents? When I told Freya my story, she suggested I go home with her. I agreed because I didn't want to go back to the orphanage. Wow, you have such a beautiful house. I'm glad you like it. Miss Brown, please set the table for us. Will you help me find my parents? We'll go to your house tomorrow morning. You can stay here tonight. It was the best dinner I had that month. But then I was woken up in the middle of the night by a strange noise. It sounded like someone in the house was groaning. My heart sank and I slid under the covers to block out the sound. I guess it was just a dream. As promised, Freya brought me to my old home.
Sorry, I bought this house a month ago. I don't know anything about the previous owners.
What am I supposed to do now? Don't worry. We'll find out more about your parents. You can stay with me until we find them. Thank you so much. You're welcome, sweetie. Freya called the orphanage and told them I wasn't going back there. A few days later, she managed to find out what happened to my mom and dad. They got into an accident. I'm so sorry, Mandy, but they're not coming back. I tried really hard not to cry, but couldn't help it. You can stay with me if you want. I'd be happy if you did. Soon, Freya adopted me. After that, she always introduced me as her daughter. She seemed like a beautiful fairy to me. After a while, I went to a new school.
Hey, did you eat buns all night again?
He probably found his ugly sweater in the trash. Leave him alone.
Is she your girlfriend? Get lost.
When the bell rang, I stayed in the hallway. Don't mind them. By the way, I like your sweater.
Nah, I know it's ugly. I live with my grandma. She chose it. I'm Rob, by the way.
Rob, like me, had no parents. It brought us closer, and we became fast friends. At first, the other kids made fun of me for it, but I stood up for myself, and soon they left us alone.
Ready for an adventure? I found a new cache.
I hope you recognize that cutie. Rob had changed a lot in the past 7 years. You know I'm always ready. Rob and I got really into geocaching. We used GPS to look for caches with treasure. That evening, we found a new geocache and then hung out in my room and revised for a biology test. All of a sudden, we heard a crash. Miss Brown? What was that?
I was cleaning the library and dropped some books. It sounded more like you dropped a piano.
That night, I was woken up by an eerie noise. It sounded like a groan. I think I heard it before. The first night I slept here. As soon as I came out into the hallway, the sound stopped, but I heard muffled voices. It's your responsibility. This better not happen again. I'm sorry. I'll be more careful. I didn't understand what they were talking about and couldn't stop thinking about their conversation the next day.
You okay?
When I told Rob about the talk I'd overheard, he was very surprised.
Don't you think that's weird? First the crash, then the weird conversation?
Did Miss Brown break something valuable?
Why would your mom tell her off in the middle of the night, though?
When I got home, I decided to do my homework in the garden. That's when I noticed a drawing in the bushes. It's me and Rob. Do you know who might have drawn this? Miss Brown likes drawing. She must have drawn you two. She is an artist? Who would have thought? Yes, it's my work. For some reason, I didn't believe her. When I got to school, I showed the drawing to Rob.
Do you really think your housekeeper drew this?
I don't know what to think. Miss Brown and Freya have been acting weird, though. A few days after that, a strange noise woke up again. At first, it sounded like a groan, and then it was like someone was knocking. It was so creepy. In the morning, Freya left for work. It was going to be just me and Miss Brown for a few days. I hear those sounds every night. It freaks me out. I wanted to ask Miss Brown to make some tea for us. Rob and I called her and went through all the rooms, but the housekeeper was nowhere to be found. Then, I heard footsteps on the stairs. Someone was coming down from the second floor. Miss Brown, where have you been? I dozed off in my room.
We were in her room. Miss Brown was not there.
I don't like any of this.
I could stay here for the night.
That's a great idea. Rob pretended to leave but sneaked back into my room after Miss Brown had gone to bed. Please tell me I'm not going crazy and you can hear it too.
I can, and I think someone's knocking again.
We tiptoed out into the hallway, but just like last time, the noise soon stopped. Then, Miss Brown suddenly walked by us like a gloomy shadow. Is she having a late dinner?
I doubt that.
The next day, Rob's grandma dragged him to an exhibition and we had to pause our investigation.
Grandma owns the exhibition center. I have to be there. Sorry.
Don't worry, I'll see you tomorrow. After hanging up, I suddenly noticed a drawing lying in the grass. My heart immediately started pounding. Did you draw this too? I did. Why does Freya look like a witch? It was one of her roles. I didn't believe Miss Brown. Our housekeeper was obviously hiding something. To get my mind off things, I decided to go for a walk. Mandy! At first, I didn't understand who called me, but then I saw my parents.
We finally found you!
I was so shocked I couldn't utter a word. We are so sorry, sweetie. 7 years ago, we got in trouble and had to leave the country. We recently got back and saw you in a movie. That's how we found out you were adopted by a famous actress.
We came back to fix everything.
Are you freaking serious? You've been gone for 7 years. Why did you abandon me? We didn't. We thought about you every minute. I don't know about that, but I do know you weren't there for me.
I know it's hard for you to forgive us, but please give us another chance.
I felt conflicted. In the end, I gave them my phone number and left in a passing taxi. I desperately wanted to talk to someone, and there was only one person I could turn to.
Mandy?
Rob, come look at this piece of abstract art.
Later, Grandma. I'm so glad you're here. I know what that knocking sound was. It's Morse code. I managed to decode it. Someone's locked up in your house. They were asking for help. It all makes sense now. Miss Brown must have been bringing them food at night on that tray.
That's crazy. Why would anyone be locked up in my house?
We need to search all the rooms again.
Okay, that's not why I'm here though. I saw my parents today. I talked to Rob and he cheered me up.
Of course, it's weird that they haven't been around for so long, but I think you should see them again.
I took his advice. When Mom called me, I agreed to see them the next day.
Thank you for coming. We won't let you down again.
This is for you. We spent the whole day together. It felt like I was a kid again. I guess they were right about me being too kind because I found it in myself to forgive them. In the evening, they brought me home. Freya just got back from the shoot.
Mandy, what's going on?
These are my parents. I know who they are. Have they told you why they abandoned you yet?
That's none of your business.
Of course it is. Mandy, I didn't want to traumatize you when you were a kid, but it's It's time for you to hear the truth. Your parents are scammers. 7 years ago, they abandoned you and tried to hide from the police, but were caught anyway. They spent all these years in prison. What? I can't believe it. Here's proof. Before I adopted you, I hired a detective and found out everything. So that's why you were acting so weird when I was a kid. You were hardly ever at home. And you also climbed into my room through the window. I guess deep down, I always knew my parents were criminals. I just didn't want to believe it.
We made a mistake, but we've already paid for it.
We can start over. I need some time alone. When Freya left for the shoot the next morning, Rob came over. Because of my parents, I completely forgot that we had agreed to search the house again.
I text Miss Brown. She thinks she'd want a day at a spa. We have a couple of hours before she figures it out and gets back here.
She seriously fell for it?
We're lucky she's so naive.
Rob and I searched every corner of the house but couldn't find anything suspicious. Here's where I found those drawings. Do you think it means something?
I'm not sure yet.
I looked up and suddenly noticed something strange. Hey, look over there. See that little barred window?
Which room is it?
That's exactly the thing. There's no room with such a window. I just realized that the second floor looks bigger from the outside than from the inside.
Are you saying there's a secret room in the house?
Let's hope there's no basilisk in it. We went back up to the second floor and walked into the closet where Miss Brown kept all the cleaning supplies.
I think there's something here.
It's a door.
Can I borrow your hairpin? Learning how to open all these caches is really paying off.
When we walked inside, we saw a girl. She was sitting on the floor surrounded by a lot of drawings. Don't be afraid. We won't hurt you.
Who are you? What are you doing here?
The girl grabbed a piece of paper and quickly started to write. My name is Nora. I was born deaf and mute. Freya is my mom. She is obsessed with harmony and beauty. When I was born, she was horrified and hid me from everyone. At first, we lived separately, but then the journalist started to suspect something, so Mom built this room to keep me close.
What the heck?
Nora says Freya only adopted me so that people would stop spreading rumors about her daughter. She then sent Nora away again, but recently some people got wind of Nora's existence and Freya brought her back here. Miss Brown has been looking after and teaching Nora.
Nora tried to get our attention with her knocking and drawings. She's tired of being locked up and wants to live a normal life.
Those groans. You were trying to talk to us, weren't you? How could Freya do this to her own child? That's monstrous. The next moment, we heard footsteps outside the door. Miss Brown, how could you let this happen? Why is Mandy here? I've got a better question. Why is Nora locked up here? Honey, I love you. You know that? You are my real daughter. Nora is just the biggest mistake I ever made. I was disgusted by Freya's words. It was only at that moment I saw the monster that was hiding behind the mask of a beautiful fairy.
You're finished.
Mom? Dad? What are you doing here?
After coming back in town, we found out your dirty little secret.
Now, why don't you leave part of your fortune to Mandy and give her back to us? We will adopt her and get the money.
If you don't, the whole world will find out about your Chamber of Secrets.
Is that the only reason you came back? To blackmail Freya and take her money? You know the three of you are a lot alike. You all used me.
Look, the police are here.
Where? Nora and I ran out like bats out of hell, and Rob soon caught up to us.
You can't go home. Let's go to my place.
What on earth is wrong with you?
Nora?
When Rob's grandmother found out what happened, she called the police. Freya was in deep trouble. She was fired from the movie. I stayed with Rob and his grandmother for a while. Thanks to them, Nora got into a school for teenagers like her. Nora recently presented her paintings at an exhibition. Rob fell for her and they became an item. I got into college and moved to campus. My parents never changed their ways and were soon arrested again. Freya bribed the police and got off lightly, but had to forget about an acting career. I'm sorry things turned out this way, but there are some things there are no excuses for. Wouldn't you agree?